right. Here we are, episode 4, a very, very special 3-person episode. You can see we got some Batman stuff going on in the corners there because we are about to, let's say,
we're talking Batman.
Discuss Batman.
Yeah.
With the new the Batman that just came out. Obviously, you know, they've made what feels like about 1,000 Batman movies since
it's a lot more than I thought. When I looked up all of them, I was like, holy shit, they got a Lego Batman movie.
Yeah, it's crazy too. If you start looking at the I mean, obviously like the Batman vs Superman, like Dawn of Justice and the Justice League stuff, and then on top of it, all the animated stuff like Under the Red Hood and
right. I've never watched any of that shit.
The Killing Joke, you never watched any of that stuff?
Nah. That's a good one.
The Killing Joke's rad, dude.
That's
really good. Hey, Caleb, have you seen the one that they did with the Ninja Turtles? I downloaded it thinking my kids could watch it. Absolutely not.
Hold up. There's a Batman Ninja Turtles?
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
And it's awesome.
All right.
It's a lot more adult-oriented than I thought. Like, I was not prepared. I didn't know there's.
I remember when you said you let.
I remember that. I didn't know that DC with these new animated movies would definitely is tearing towards us, not towards kids.
So I remember, like, I mean, I feel like Under the Red Hood was. It's got to be 10 years ago. That was that storyline first made its rounds. And it was way, way, way more adult than anything I had seen Batman wise. It kind of reminded me of like when Marvel did like the Old Man Logan storyline with Wolverine and stuff like that, where it was just grittier. And this was like pre-Christopher Nolan. So at the time, I mean, it still kind of is the grittiest, like rawest Batman. The Killing Joke and stuff like that is.
That's more along the lines of how that Ninja Turtle one is. Like within like the first 30 seconds, somebody takes like a ninja star to the forehead and just splits their head open. It's nuts.
Yeah. And that animation, I mean, obviously you can do so much more with animation than you can with live action and CGI. It's literally unlimited what you can do with animation. I always think of like Kill Bill, like that cut scene with
Iroku or whatever.
Lucy Liu's character.
Yep.
Where that is like literally as gory as anything has ever been on television or in a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude literally gets cut in half and like she puts that sword in his chest and she pulls it out and it like you see her silhouette on the wall. I mean, that's wild. That's super duper gory. Yeah. Couldn't really do that with live action. I can't imagine Lucy Liu getting sprayed in the face with that much blood. So
that would be awesome.
Yeah, eventually. We're along with all the the different Batmans that they made. Obviously, they made some that are just straight stinkers that we're probably not going to argue much about. What's that?
It's that old bat tits.
Talk about Clooney.
Yep.
You talk about the nipples. Everybody's pissed off about nipple armor.
Everybody got mad because Batman had nipples.
Well, of course he has nipples, but does it have to be included in the suit? That's really the question. I mean.
Look at Val Kilmer over here. Look at Val.
I know he's
ain't got no six pack like that. I bet Ben was cut up like he is right there, but Val.
I don't know, man. What year did what was Batman Forever? 1995,
93 or some shit like that. Yeah,
Batman Forever,
right around there. 95.
So definitely post Top Gun, but
by 10 years. Top Gun came out in the 80s, man. 88 or 87.
Was Val still doing okay? I mean, I remember like The Saint. He had to still be in pretty decent shape for The Saint.
I like that.
92 would have been Batman Returns, I think.
Did you just go audio only to look something up, Todd? Usually you stay on screen when you do research. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know what happened there.
Wait, Batman Forever was not night. You said Batman Returns?
Batman Returns was 92.
92. So Batman Forever had to be 96 or 97.
Yeah, probably. Batman Returns was still Keaton, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the second Keaton.
Yeah, Batman Forever was the only Val Kilmer one.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's call
Batman Forever was 95.
95. So I bet
Batman
Val
and Robin
Kilmer,
was 97.
Val Kilmer was still in decent shape there. I don't know if he was in the kind of shape that we're seeing in the bottom corner of the screen right now. I don't know if any Batman's ever been in that kind of shape.
Especially Keaton.
Right.
He was never cut up like that.
Keaton was dad bod Batman.
Yeah, he was.
How old was Michael Keaton in 1989? That's the real question. He's got to be like around my parents' age. He's got to be. What year was he born? 54, 55?
Who, Michael Keaton? 51.
Yeah. 51? So he was almost 40 years old playing Batman.
Yeah, he was 38, 39.
And then 40 when they did Batman Returns.
Yep.
So he's the oldest Batman then?
I think Ben's 40.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Keaton's coming back for this Flash movie.
For what?
Michael Keaton is back as the Batman from the 89 Batman film for the new Flash movie.
Is it gonna still be in like the whole Tim Burton realm? Like,
yeah, because it's when the Flash is trying to correct things, he's gonna jump timelines.
Oh shit! His IMDb's got Batgirl and that Flash.
It's the old school Tim Burton emblem on his chest. Like, it's gonna be awesome.
That's crazy.
So I did a little bit of just like earlier. I didn't want to come in completely unprepared for you guys to roast the Christopher Nolan movies. So I did just a touch of background at background even. And like I was talking to Danielle, my wife. I was saying like the original to us, the 1989 Batman.
Sure.
Here, from here on referred to as the original because I didn't really watch the TV show till I was a teenager, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The old Adam West stuff, and it's entertaining, but it's not my Batman. So I remember watching that VHS at my aunt's house, the very first time I ever watched a Batman movie. And that VHS box, do you remember? It was just a plain black box. It didn't say Batman. It just had
it.
I
had it.
It just had the logo on there, and it wrapped just barely around the side of the screen. It didn't fit. Oh my god! Like, how genius of a move was that to not have it fit directly on the front of the screen? Because that stands out in my head. I'm sure you guys too.
When I was a kid, my dad bought me that for Christmas. It was $100. It was $100
for a VHS.
Buy that VHS when we bought it because it had just come out. Like, and
that's
at
wild.
The Delmar Video, where we used to get videos from, you could buy the tapes outright, and like
that right there that's a reference. Delmar Video.
Oh yeah,
dude,
we used to go there every Friday night. My old man would take us, and everybody was allowed to pick out one movie. And it was Friday night after he got paid. We would go to Ryan's or Old Country Buffet every time. And after Ryan's, we would hit old Delmar, and you were allowed to pick out a movie. And I picked that movie out probably 4 weeks in a row. And he was like, "I'm just gonna buy that movie."
I'm just gonna buy it
because every week I was like, "Oh, I'm watching Batman, of course." And then me and my brother were both like, "All right, I'll pick Batman, and you pick something else that we want to watch," because we had two sisters and we didn't watch their bullshit movies. So we were like, "All right, you have to pick something else because we can't just have Batman." Oh, it was so good. And I wore that. I had to buy that one twice, I think.
I remember
I watched it a million times.
That's probably like that the very first, as soon as you pop that DVD in now or the VHS back then, and it comes in with that and the clouds and everything.
Yeah,
it's just
good.
It's like completely ingrained in my brain. There's no way I could ever forget that movie. I know every line of that movie. I've seen it literally triple digits for sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's not even a question.
Yeah.
That Batman, John knows him. One of my best friends is obsessed with that Batman. Like Batman in general. But dude, he has those original VHS tapes.
Yeah.
Like unopened. Like he's got Bob. He's got all the action figures from the Jack Nicholson's little sidekick Bob. All the way, everybody. Party dude's into Party Man. Like he loves that fucking movie. Like it's just one of his favorite things.
Tim Burton's really good at building worlds, and that was I remember. Did Beetlejuice come out before that?
Yeah, 87.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had seen Beetlejuice, and it was the first time I remember going, the same people made this movie. Because I was like, that made Beetlejuice, because I was like, this world, it's like,
yeah, you can tell.
There was just something about it that I was just like, it was the first time I had seen a director having a direct influence on a film.
Yeah.
And I was like 8. I was 8 or 9 years old. And I was like, why does this seem so familiar? And then it was like the soundtrack with Danny Elfman, like everything about it was like, oh, it's Beetlejuice. It's just like Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Great. We get to do the rest of this thing with Danny Elfman.
Nice. Family Guy reference.
Yeah. So, yeah, now I'll say, coming off of the 1989 Batman, I'm not a huge Batman Returns guy. I think that the Penguin is great. I think Danny DeVito's Penguin is a great character. The rest of the movie, I was always just not super into.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as the first one to me.
No, I mean, definitely not as good as the first one. And I think
if I were to slope after that one, though.
What's that?
But this is the thing. A lot of like the critics have returns above the original,
which is silly to me. I mean, I get it. I mean,
I didn't understand that either. When I was looking up stuff the other day, I was like, I wonder, what the rankings are of a lot of these. And I looked up 5 guys, and they all had returns above the original Batman. And I was like,
I like returns a lot.
They all quote it's Christopher Walken's character. They really.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say Walken and Schwarzenegger have, or not Schwarzenegger. Danny DeVito have a lot to do with that. And I like the Batman and Robin. Schwarzenegger is like the only thing anybody ever has good to say about that, which is hilarious to me because I think it's not a great. Not a great.
Because it's over the top. That's why.
I remember watching that movie. We were at a party once, and they put that movie on. I was like, "Why are you guys watching this terrible movie?" And I was like, "This movie's so bad." I go, "This sequence," and it was the sequence where the rocket was going up in the air, and they shot out of the side, and then they surfed down back. On top of the doors. I was like, "This is absurd. Like, how do you people like this?"
Well, Schumacher kind of went with like the 50s.
Yeah, which is cool,
60s,
but it
like the old, whatever the old school campy, like over the top character villains. Like,
there's got to be a line though,
right?
I think that's where these new ones are getting good. Like Nolan kind of turned that corner. We're like, hey, people want to see this dark, like more grounded, like character driven stuff. Like where like the Joker is more believable in the Nolan series than the Joker in the first one.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of like, okay, this dude's a psychopath. Like this dude's like a legitimate crazy person.
Right.
Well, and I think you hit on it there in the word grounded, because everybody always, gritty, dark, those are the words that everybody always uses for the Christopher Nolan stuff. But grounded's a way better word because it feels more realistic. You know what I mean? Like seeing Heath Ledger's version of the Joker is clearly a more human version of the Joker than Jack Nicholson's. Like, I think Jack Nicholson's Joker is the best Batman villain, in my opinion, but he's also so far over the top. And I love Jack Nicholson. I mean, I'm certainly biased there. But, God, I mean, it's such a ridiculous character the whole time, whereas Heath Ledger, you can kind of understand how he got to that point. You know what I mean? Like, it makes sense. Like, this guy has just been pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed to now he's a sociopath.
All right, so let's do what are your top 3 Batman movies?
Have I said it out loud on the podcast already? I'm not sure, but I
don't think so. Just go from 3 to 1.
3 is a tie for me right now. Until I watch it again, the newest one with Robert Pattinson is tied currently with the 1989 Michael Keaton Batman for me at number 3. And that's on one viewing. It might go up, it might go down, I don't know. For me, The Dark Knight Rises is number 2 and The Dark Knight is number 1. I know you. I already knew where you were going.
Dark Knight Rises.
I love The Dark Knight Rises.
So bad. It was so bad.
We've had this discussion on and off camera, and I'm telling you, aside from the timeline issue of the broken back and the cops in the cave, if I just could,
besides all of that,
It's not. Listen.
Besides major plot holes,
You're making it such a bigger plot hole than it needs to be, though, because
it is a big plot hole.
It would take one word, like one reference. They could put a 15-second scene in there and fix that plot hole that they didn't put in there for some reason. I don't know why they didn't. Huh?
Okay, no, you're right. You're right. That's you like.
There's no point. There's no point though for like Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character. Irrelevant. Like he didn't need to be in the movie.
You're not exactly wrong. Though.
Okay, I'm not attacking it. Okay, why is Dark Knight number one? What makes it the best Batman movie to you?
In my opinion, Heath Ledger makes it the best Batman movie.
Okay, so the non-Batman character is the best thing about the Batman movie.
Yep, and listen, here's the thing: if you look at all the Batman side by side, their version of Batman, their version of Bruce Wayne, everybody who's played Batman on camera or voiced Batman, if Todd wants to really throw Mark Hamill in front of Christian Bale like he's made jokes about. So if you look at all of them side by side, none of them are like head and shoulders better than everybody else. You know what I mean? There's not a clear cut number one, in my opinion, aside from Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne. Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne is the best Bruce Wayne, and I don't think anybody's really close. But if you look at just Batman's, none of them are like wildly better than anybody else.
Yes,
George Clooney was not a good Batman.
There's one.
Yeah. What's that?
Pattinson's the best Batman. He's the best Batman, not Bruce Wayne. I agree. Michael Keaton's the best Bruce Wayne. But we also have this is the beginning of the movie series. Like they could develop that Bruce Wayne character, but right now he is without a doubt to me the best Batman.
Well, Todd, what are your three?
Mine 3 is 89, 2's The Dark Knight, and 1 is this new one.
Mine mirrors that. Mine's exactly the same.
It was such a different, and maybe it's just because it was just such a different take on making it more of like what Batman should be, like this detective, like you showing his intelligence, he's figuring out this crime.
Right.
They're introducing, like subtly introducing all these other characters. Like when he injects that green stuff at the end when he's in the thing.
Right.
Like I'm assuming that.
By the way,
I'm assuming that's
spoilers at the beginning of this. We're gonna be talking.
I'm assuming
spoilers.
I'm
talking about to the people that are watching it.
I'm gonna definitely in the description. I'm gonna say spoilers. Yeah. I'm gonna make sure. Like I don't want anybody coming for us. Like you fuckers, why did you spoil this movie? Like I don't want anybody to think.
Hey, look, they had time.
Talk about details.
Finish your thought. Go ahead.
I think like introducing that green adrenaline that he was doing. I think that's the Bane Venom. Right. They kind of introduced who the Joker was in Arkham Asylum. They've got the Riddler. You've got the beginning origin stuff of how Penguin became. Like everything was so good. John Turturro's character is good. Like it made you want to understand what's going on in this underworld, and the fact that he's just walking around as Batman, like not giving 2 Fs, like just showing up at the door, like, I want to see the Penguin. And that dude's just like shuts the door, opens it, and he just starts punching dudes in the face. I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Love it.
What did you like about Dark Knight?
It's Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
To me, he's the best Joker. To me, he's the best Batman villain that's been on screen.
I agree.
You could relate to him. He made you understand what his drive was. Like everything made sense. Like even though he doesn't necessarily make sense, like it just added up. I liked it. I mean, to me, that's my favorite Batman villain.
What did you like about the 89? Why was that number
Keaton.
3?
It's just Keaton and probably nostalgia more than anything. But then if you look at the other movies, like George Clooney's, I'm not looking at those. Like, I mean, outside of the Keaton ones, the only one that I even enjoy slightly is the fact that Jim Carrey was a hilarious version of the Riddler.
Yeah, I liked that movie. I would never say it's good, but I liked it. There was parts of it I was like, yeah, like even like Tommy Lee Jones when he was with the Riddler, Like the way they played off each other was fun.
Their interaction.
It was fun. It wasn't a good movie,
but
it was fun.
Well, even like my thing with Batman Forever, I watched that one a ton too. I've probably seen that one
I've seen that one a lot.
Like the scene where they're playing Battleship basically with the mines, and he's like B9 or B12 and my favorite vitamin, I might add. Like all those little tiny things. It was just a well put together movie. Not
Best
a great
Batmobiles
movie.
from '89.
I don't know, bro.
What's the best Batmobile?
I like the Dodge.
I knew it was pretty cool, but
that souped up jet powered Dodge that Pattinson was driving, pretty rad.
Dude, the machine guns flipping up on the front. You got the big jet in the back in the '89.
So
and maybe I had it as a toy. So
real quick, drama before you get into your top three here. Oh, you already said they're the same as Todd's.
But I want to tell you why.
Before you tell us why, when you guys were watching that chase scene with Penguin, you know what I'm talking about? When he like huge part of the movie. Was that a Maserati he was driving? I never once saw an emblem, and I tried to look it up and couldn't find anything but Penguin's stupid rubber ducky car when I tried to Google it.
I know it's awesome. They actually jumped that Robert Pattinson car. Like they actually did that. Like none of that was like CGI. They talked about it in an interview. I was like, he wanted it to look all like what it would really look like if they did it. So they actually did all that stuff. That was pretty awesome.
That's not as cool as them building like a 12-mile stretch of highway for the Matrix, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah. So film-wise, 89 is third because of the aesthetic and Tim Burton and Michael Keaton. I liked Michael Keaton a lot. He wasn't believable as Batman, though, for me. He wasn't a believable badass. I had seen Mr. Mom. You know what I mean? Like I had seen Gung Ho. Like Michael Keaton, it almost took you out of it because of you're like, that's Michael Keaton, man. Like he's not, like that's why George Clooney never made sense to me as Batman either. Because it's like it's George Clooney, man. George Clooney is not the guy you thinking is out there kicking ass and you know what I mean, taking names, stuff like that. So him as Batman just threw me off. I thought he was the best Bruce Wayne as well. Just because this is the other thing. He spent the most time as Bruce Wayne. You know what I'm saying? Him and Christian Bale are really the two guys that spend time
they focus
in their films as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, they focus quite a bit more on Bruce Wayne as a character.
And George Clooney won, the Val Kilmer one. The only time he was Bruce Wayne was when he was on that date with what's her name?
With Nicole Kidman, yeah.
Was that
Michelle Pfeiffer?
Michelle Pfeiffer.
No, you talking about
Nicole Kidman?
Catwoman?
No, Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer in Batman Forever goes on a date with Dr. Chase Meridian, which is played by
Nicole Kidman.
Believe me.
It's Nicole Kidman.
Who's the girl in the 89 Batman? I thought that was Nicole Kidman. That's
no, that's Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger. Okay, yeah. But anyway, Michael Keaton and Christian Bale, I think they spend the most time as Bruce Wayne, so they're the best Bruce Waynes.
Vicky Vale was Kim Basinger.
Vicky Vale, yeah. But other than that, the Joker character was awesome when I was a kid. Like the 89 Batman was great. The opening sequence where he's, the guys rob somebody.
There ain't no
up on top of that roof counting their loot up, and Batman just shows up and kicks their ass. Like that's Batman.
That scene, that opening scene where the guy's like, he's like, hey, you want a cut of this money or what? That whole scene. I swear to God, I've seen that movie 100 times. Right. And the other guy's like, you shouldn't have killed that kid, man. You shouldn't put a gun on that kid or whatever. And he's like, hey, there ain't no bat. You got that? And he looks up and he's right there. It's like amazing. Yeah. Tim Burton crushed that opening scene.
Yeah, really good.
And he dangles him off the edge.
2 is Dark Knight, and it's solely because there's so many problems I have with the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises that I think Dark Knight Rises might be in my top 5 as Batman movies, but it's only because the rest of them I don't like. And Dark Knight Rises was tolerable enough because I liked Christian Bale as Batman. I thought he was pretty good as Batman. and I like Tom Hardy as Bane. I thought that was cool, but just there were so many film flaws with that movie. It wasn't the people playing the characters for me. It was the flaws of the timelines and all that stuff that like I pick apart while I'm watching the movie. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? Like stuff that throws me out of the film. And that's what I don't like about Dark Knight Rises. But the Dark Knight had way less of that. Like if you go back, and I've done this. I've gone back and only watched the Joker sequences from that Batman movie. Only watched the Heath Ledger scenes because they were that good. The scene with him and Harvey Dent, where he's talking about, I'm a dog and I wouldn't know what to do if I caught one. His little mannerisms, everything he does in that sequence, like, I don't know if Christopher Nolan was like guiding him through that or he was just doing it naturally, but if you look at his hands, when he's got his hands like this and he's got the gun and he's like, it's fair. Yeah. Watch his hands, and his hands move so naturally and so crazy. Like I know crazy people in my life, and the way they move and their mannerisms, it was perfect. And that's why, you have to put that at number 2 because it was a flawless villain. Flawless. Every time he was on the screen, it was captivating.
Now, let me ask you this: we briefly touched on whether or not Heath Ledger's his performance would have been as revered as it was if he hadn't died.
Right.
I think we all agreed that obviously it added mystique to it, and it probably
was romanticized a little bit, but
it was still
too good.
So good.
It was still too good.
And you guys both think that he's the best Batman villain?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I think on screen, I like Jack Nicholson and I even said before I went to go see the Christopher Nolan Batman, I go, there's no way he's better than Jack. There's no way.
Yeah.
I walked out of the theater and I went, he's better than Jack.
I was on the same that same boat. I mean, I'm such a huge, like I said, I'm a big Jack Nicholson fan. I always have been, and that is like. That's the first villain that I ever remember like kind of liking, you know what I mean? Like watching Batman and being like upset that the villain didn't win. You know, like
away, though. You have to watch that movie close. He gets away at the end.
Yeah, it's
watch it. He does. He doesn't fall to his death like everybody thinks he does.
That's nitpicky because he never came back, you know what I mean? Like
right, yeah.
It's kind of like the old Clint Eastwood, outlaw Josie Wales, like, did he die? Or Butch and Sundance, did they die? Stuff like that.
Ambiguous ending.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah. So, but I was in, like I said, I was in that same boat with you when I heard, first of all, when I heard that Heath Ledger died, my very first thought, and I feel kind of like an asshole for thinking it, was, I really hope they finished filming Batman already.
Right. You know what I mean? Like,
the movie hadn't been released yet. So I immediately looked it up. They said they were in post-production already. I was like, okay, I can't wait to see this now, especially once the news started circulating that it was, he died the way that he died under pretty mysterious circumstances, really. Was it him? Did he overdose, whatever, blah, blah, blah. How much did the movie really cause him to lose his shit? And then you watch the movie and you're like, oh yeah, he was immersed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, it's a great performance. He's number 2, and he's not far behind Jack Nicholson for me. And it's probably a little bit like what Todd said, the nostalgia of Jack Nicholson.
See, I rewatched the Batman, the 89 version after Dark Knight, just because I was like, I even thought to myself, I was like, maybe I'm just romanticizing this. And it's not that good, and it was. I personally, it's personal opinion though. I mean, I think it's not even close that Heath Ledger was the best villain. But I think that's the one thing that stands out, and that's why, when I argue my point for why I think The Batman with Robert Pattinson is the best Batman movie, is because the best thing about this Batman movie is Batman.
Can you say that about any other Batman film?
No, that's the Michael Keaton one, I guess. But that's because when I was a kid, I wanted to be Batman, and I think of it like I'm a kid. You know
Sure.
what I'm saying? So it was like Batman was the shit, and he was better than Joker. Now I can tell you right now, the performance of Joker was better than Michael Keaton. But when I was a kid, it wasn't even close. I wanted to be Batman, kicking ass. You know?
Oh, that's so wild because that's like I said, it's the first movie that I was all in on the villain.
Yeah, I liked Joker but it was for me. It was Michael Keaton, Batman, bro. I wanted to be Batman. I wanted to be out there, dude. I was trying to save up. There used to be like those catalogs, and I tried to save up for those like real life Batman. Like I wanted to be that shit, man.
Oh yeah, like the belt, the utility belt, and all that
right.
shit. Like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So for me, it's a romanticized thing. Like I think of that Batman and go, I really like that Batman.
See, I was that Batman age though when like Batman Forever came out.
Right.
Like Batman the animated series was the biggest thing of Batman when I was a kid. Like Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill were the biggest thing. Right. Like that was most of the Batman toys. That was the only reason I saw those other movies. Like went back and saw Batman and Batman Returns. Because I can remember Batman Forever. I actually think I might have seen that in the theater.
I did.
I'm pretty sure that I'd have been like, because I was only 3 when Michael Keaton's Batman came out.
Right.
So I was only 6. You know what I mean? Like,
right. I was 8.
Yeah.
So the reason I think the Batman is the best movie, it's not because it's got the best villain, and it's not because it's got the best storyline. It's because film-wise, it's the absolute best film. Like the pacing of the film is perfect. The music score is absolutely perfect.
Oh, I love the Nirvana, the usage of the Nirvana. Oh God.
Well, and even the sound ambience when he's like detecting and stuff, like it immerses you and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then when he comes, like it snaps
as
an
he's
idea.
figuring stuff out. Yeah.
Right. So that right there, because it makes it an immersive experience to me, and not just like I'm watching a movie and waiting for sound to happen. It's the sound is causing me to get into the film, and like I'm in Batman's mind while he's solving this puzzle, and the music and the score is literally pulling me into it. And that's something it's because of the way the film's made. It's not anything that and the Christopher Nolan Batman did it to a certain extent too. It has a very distinctive, when you hear the song, the score for the Christopher Nolan Batman, you know it. You're like, oh, that's from Batman. Yeah. Like that's from the Christopher Nolan Batman. That's how this score is right now too. It's not just that Nirvana song, because that Nirvana thing is super popular on like TikTok right now.
Yeah. Oh, they used it so well. Yeah.
But it's the Batman score, the original score for the movie right now. That's very like people are using it on TikTok right now as well.
When you're talking about like how you feel like you're solving the crime, though,
right?
Like it's even when you're noticing the subtleties of the other characters. Like when he walks into that first guy that gets murdered with the carpet tool.
Right.
The tool had hit the floor, and when Batman walks in, he like looks down at it.
Right.
He's assessing all this stuff, and nobody else saw it. And the one girl that's taking the pictures is like watching them, and she's like, "Oh my God, I missed that." She walks over and starts taking pictures. Well, they're realizing like, "Oh shit, he's figuring this out faster than we are."
Well, and I like the way they did that with the occasional use of the first person. You know what I mean? Like, I hate it when a movie like overuses that first person where you're like, I know you know what I'm talking about. Where
the
they
over and under look. So there's a camera. It looks. Yeah.
And they try to use it for emphasis on certain things.
Right.
It was really well used in this movie. It was very subtle, but still got the point across. Especially the spots like Todd's talking about, where they wanted you to see exactly what Batman was seeing, but they didn't want it to be like look, it's heat vision. You know what I mean? Like so often they use like thermal vision or night vision to show these like first person views to really overdo it, in my opinion. And this was way more subtle. It was really great. I don't want you guys to think that I'm like shitting on the new Batman movie.
No. I also like the combat sequences were more believable than any other Batman movie. I thought Dark Knight was close. The Dark Knight Rises, all the rest of them they're cheesy, but this one was like Batman was getting hit with baseball bats and going down. Like, you know what I mean? He wasn't just walking through everybody. Like there's that sequence where he had to hit him with the adrenaline burst to get up and just pound that dude.
Yeah.
Like all of that it adds to this guy's just a regular dude. He's just a regular guy in a bat suit. You know?
So I wanted to circle back on that, and you just reminded me of it. When you were talking about the 1989 Batman, like part of the kind of the disconnect is not believing that Michael Keaton,
right?
Like him not being believable as Batman because you've seen him in Mr. Mom and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I agree. I definitely agree. But I mean, if you were to rank like the physicality of Batman, Ben Affleck's got to be number one.
Yeah, but he never had his own Batman movie. Like I don't even
he's
him
still
as Batman
Batman
sometimes.
He's still Batman.
No, he's still Batman. I agree, but he's in physicality wise, yeah, he's probably the biggest, baddest one of the bunch.
So
Affleck's like 6'5" or something like that.
He's like 6'2", 6'3". He's big, but he's not like a monster. Now, but here's my question. Aside from him, are there any Batmans, like actors that have played Batman, that you think of as a badass? I mean, I don't even really think of Ben Affleck as a badass. I know he can play a badass, but like I have that disconnect with Val Kilmer, George Clooney.
Val Kilmer wasn't a disconnect for me because I'd seen Willow and I'd seen him kick ass as fucking Matt Morgan.
Sure.
So like for me, Val Kilmer was believable as Batman.
15 years later though.
Nah.
It's 8-9 years later minimum. What year did Willow come out?
Willow was 89, I think. 89 or 90.
I think it was before I was even. It might have been before I was born, bud.
Nah, dude. Willow isn't that.
All right, so either way, even if it's 89, there's no way it's 89 for the record, but even if it were, you're talking 7 years later.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's 1988.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Willow's an old movie, but like I mean
anyway.
Right.
The last thing that I remember seeing Val Kilmer in pre-Batman Forever is like we were saying earlier, like The Saint. You know what I mean? Like that's around that same time frame.
That was after, but yeah.
Top Gun.
Well, Top Gun was certainly before. That's like Willow era.
Right.
So, that's 86. That was the week I was born was the top movie.
That's a super.
Right, but I'm just saying Val Kilmer for me is a believable as a badass because he's been in badass roles.
George Clooney was in ER. And then became became the Batman. Like
right. And for me, Keaton was that way after the fact. When I was a kid, Keaton was badass. But then when I watched it again as an adult, I was like, yeah, it kind of throws you out of it because you know who Michael Keaton is.
Right.
And
does that mean that you would put like, can you believe Christian Bale as a badass?
Oh yeah. Terminator, you know.
Until the third movie when he walks through the entire crowd of people, like fight that scene to me is just absurd. I'm sorry. It is.
Which in Dark Knight Rises?
When the whole crowd's fighting on the stairs and Batman just like strolls through like he's just in a park.
I don't know. I kind of like that part of it.
I was gonna say like,
and to reference, you guys both said my favorite Batmobile is the Dark Knight Batmobile. I think that's the coolest looking one.
Well, yeah, it's the coolest looking one, but it's not
a traditional between realism and crazy.
Well, like, and I think that's like part of when you were talking about like when you asked me why the Dark Knight and why, you know, my answer for why the Dark Knight Rises, like what do I like about the Dark Knight Rises so much, is that they kind of go back. Batman Begins, I don't think any of us are like huge Batman Begins guys.
I like it better than Dark Knight Rises.
Fair. I'm not gonna disagree with you.
I think it was a good origin story, but it wasn't a great movie.
I don't like that Ken Watanabe fella, like Ra's al Ghul.
Oh yeah.
Not a big fan. Yeah. Liam Neeson didn't do it for me in Batman Begins. I mean, he's Liam Neeson. He's always the same person to me.
Right. He's just Qui-Gon Jinn and everything.
For real, he's Qui-Gon Jinn and only Qui-Gon Jinn. He's got a particular set of skills as a Jedi. So Dark Knight Rises kind of comes back on what you're talking about, that combination of realism, but also kind of a little bit over the top.
Sure.
And like the idea that Lucius Fox, Morgan Freeman's character, with like the research and development and all that stuff, like I really, really love all that stuff that they do through both the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises with like the Wayne the Wayne Foundation and Wayne Corporation having all this crazy ass technology that he's been hiding from the world. I love that aspect of those movies too.
Yeah. I liked Robert Pattinson as Batman. I thought it was the most believable Batman. That's why I like the Batman.
He's not a tough guy though either.
Yeah, but the thing about Robert Pattinson, and I said
he's a vampire,
Todd knows this. I said it the moment I said this the moment they put him in there as Batman, and Todd can attest to this. I said he's gonna be good. I said it's gonna be a good Batman movie. I like the director, and Robert Pattinson, people shit on Robert Pattinson because of Twilight, right? Everybody's like, oh, Twilight movies. And
I don't necessarily shit on Robert Pattinson. I think he's an okay actor.
I think he's an amazing actor. Like The Lighthouse with Willem, dude, like was that Water for Elephants? Like he's got some cred, dude.
I'll tell you what I did not think was gonna get referenced in this episode was The Lighthouse. Holy shit.
You've seen it?
Oh yes, sir.
It's amazing, right?
Dude, The Witch is one of my favorite movies, so of course I watch The Lighthouse too.
Yeah. So like I look at Pattinson from I saw, because I was like the same way. You know me, every werewolf movie that's ever been out, I've watched. So I went and saw Twilight and I hated it, but it was one of those things, and I hated Robert Pattinson in it. He was terrible in it. He was totally monotone. Like it was.
There's not a single. How many Twilight movies are there? There's like 6 of them or something.
I can't remember. Is there 6? I think.
From my left, I just heard my wife say there's 4.
Yeah, I think there's 4. Yeah.
Anyway,
there's 4, but you got to remember he was also at the same time he was in Harry Potter.
Yeah, he was Cedric Diggory too.
He was only in 1 Harry Potter, right?
He was in
just
2.
in the 1.
I think he was in 2.
Was he?
I think he was in 2.
He was in the one where the Triwizard Tournament, obviously, but
yeah, me and my daughter are actually going to watch that one this weekend.
Goblet of Fire, that's the one that
Goblet of Fire. Yeah, he's in 1.
That's the only one he's in.
He dies in that one because he's the one. He's one of the kids that dies in it.
Yeah,
right. He gets murdered.
Yeah, him and Harry touch the port key, the Goblet of Fire. Yeah, at the same time. And then Voldemort's like, kill the spare. And
did you see Water for Elephants?
I don't think so.
Dude, that was the movie where I was like, okay, Robert Pattinson is a good actor.
Check it out. I'll add that to the list.
Pretty solid.
I'll add that to the list along with Todd's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
if you like the animated stuff, it's a solid animated movie.
Lost City of Z is pretty good too, but that Water for Elephants, I was like, okay, like that was after Twilight was over, and it was the first thing he released after Twilight, and I was like, I don't know. And then I caught it. It went to streaming, and like I was sitting around one night just messing around on my laptop, and I was like, I'm gonna start this. The trailer looked intriguing. It looked like something I had never seen before, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna check it out. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. It was pretty good. The whole movie itself isn't that great, but Robert Pattinson was really good in it. Who else is in it? Oh my God. Oh, Christoph Waltz is in it. So like, yeah. And I was like, that was, I believe, right after Inglourious Bastards. It was the first thing Christoph Waltz did.
Christoph Waltz is like infallible. That dude.
Yeah, dude. Like
he is batting 1,000.
Yeah. Even that, what was that Green Hornet movie he did with Seth Rogen?
He was still the best. He was still the best part of that movie.
Yeah, it's the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
But he's in that Water for Elephants, Reese Witherspoon. It's good, man. You should check it out.
I will.
I think you'd like
I'll
it.
definitely check that out. So as we were talking about that, Danielle just said that she saw some video, some TikTok or something where Pete Davidson or an interview. You know who Pete Davidson is, right?
Yeah.
Everybody loves Pete Davidson. He said that Good Time is the best movie he's ever seen, and that's got Robert Pattinson in it.
Oh yeah, dude.
I didn't watch that one yet either.
It's all about drug addiction. Yeah, it's all about drug. It's crazy. It's on my list. I have it in I don't know what it's on right now. It's either on Prime Video or Netflix. I have it in my queue and I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard because he's got like a mustache and he's like some kind of drug dealer and shit.
Yeah, like his brother is like his brother has some sort of like mental handicap or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've probably like almost hit play on that one to start it up like half a dozen times and just haven't done it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like I said, I wasn't shitting on Robert Pattinson. I don't think Robert Pattinson's that bad. Aside from the Twilight movies, nobody put in a good performance in the Twilight movies though.
No.
Like they're all so bad.
So bad.
What sucks about that is the story really isn't that bad.
No.
I've never read the books, but the story itself seems like it's probably a pretty good story as far as the books go. I've just never really devoted any time to it.
Yeah, it's awful.
The movies though are just not good. I've watched all of them because I've got, women in my life.
It's not just the movie, it's the acting. Everybody, because
that's what I'm saying.
It's really crazy. Kristen, what was her name? Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart.
I just watched a movie with her in it called Underwater. It's like a horror movie about like these creatures underwater and shit. It was okay, but she was so much better than I remember her in Twilight in that. And I was like you're either getting better, you're taking acting lessons, or the guy that directed Twilight
just
was absolutely
just
awful.
Bringing out the absolute worst in all of his actors.
Because it was one of those things where I was just like, man, you're not terrible. Like, how did this happen? Like,
Twilight's what happens when you're allowed to have a big blockbuster weekend of a Lifetime movie.
Right.
That's what it is. It's just campy. It's just
terrible acting. Somebody took a Lifetime movie and gave it like a summer blockbuster.
Something crazy. The person that directed Twilight is also the person that directed Lords of Dogtown.
That's a good movie.
Yeah. What's her name?
I was just saying, like, okay, maybe I'm wrong.
What's her name?
Catherine something.
Hardwicke. Catherine Hardwicke, right?
Yeah, Hardwicke, yeah.
You know what else she directed? Go down a little bit. Go down to like 1996.
13. It's stopping at her filmography is stopping at 2003. It says 13.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Just a second. I thought she's
got a few good credits on her. Oh, she did that terrible Lost Boys TV movie. That was bad.
That's not what I was thinking of.
Yeah, it was not good. I guess the best thing she ever did was Lords of Dogtown. Like, I'm looking at her repertoire now. I was like, yeah.
Lords of Dogtown's pretty solid, really.
Solid movie. Yeah.
Did you ever watch the documentary that was based on, Dogtown and Z-Boys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
I don't remember if it was a documentary. I've seen the story of those guys, though.
If you've seen Dogtown and Z-Boys, that's that documentary.
Dogtown and Z-Boys is the documentary directed by Stacey Peralta. It's narrated by Sean Penn.
Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah,
it's really good. It's very, very good. Yeah, I was thinking of somebody else. Hold up. I don't know who I was just combining with Catherine Hardwicke.
Yeah, well, and she did all the Twilight movies. Ooh.
She directed every one of them?
Yeah.
Okay, so while I have IMDb pulled up, like I said earlier, I was doing a little bit of like background so you guys wouldn't completely shred me. Remember we were talking about how bad IMDb's ratings are sometimes?
Yeah.
What do you think is the highest rated by IMDb users, the highest rated Batman movie?
Probably Dark Knight. Right.
Now.
Well, it's either that or the Batman right now, one of the two.
No, it's the Dark Knight. Guess what it's rated?
Is that the
what's your scale? Is it
out of 10 stars?
7.8.
I was going to say 7 or 7.9.
So for a little bit of reference, remember we talked about Denzel Washington not having any movies over like 8.1 or something silly like that?
Right.
The Dark Knight is the third highest rated film on IMDb.
So it's like a 9.9 or something.
9 even. It is a 9 even. The Shawshank Redemption #1, The Godfather #2, The Dark Knight #3, The Godfather Part 2 #4. So according to IMDb users, The Dark Knight is the 3rd best film of all time. So while I love The Dark Knight, that's absurd. That's a silly thing to think about, that people believe that that's a better movie than The Godfather Part 2. It's so
I
so
don't
weird.
get it, man. Like, I've had to come to grips with like pop culture and what's popular in the culture dictates those type of numbers. Because if you're going by like a film standpoint, like people, it's going to be Citizen Kane. You go to I remember day one, Film 101 at fucking PFW. First thing they talked about, and I knew it was going to happen, it was Citizen Kane. And I was like, I've seen Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane is a great movie.
It really is.
It is not the greatest film of all time.
No.
It is not. But if you talk to those old heads, it's because they were just brought up and told that this is the best movie of all time.
Yeah, that's why you get Citizen Kane, and you get like 12 Angry Men and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and stuff like that. And I get it. But go ahead, Todd.
You gotta remember, most people are watching the movie from like an enjoyment standpoint, not a film standpoint. Because you look at like Rotten Tomatoes, Rotten Tomatoes, there are some movies that are critically just terrible. Like they crap on them, and everybody loves them. Or vice versa. Well, it'll be critically acclaimed at like 85 or 90, and it's got like a 40 on the tomato meter.
Yeah,
it just
it's
there's some movies I love that have terrible tomato meters, like by critics,
that look at the film part, like not like the enjoyability of the film. Like for me to put any Marvel movie in like any type of good, I can't even call any Marvel movie except Thor Ragnarok a film. They're all just movies. They're movies off, but people think these are like cinematic, like masterpieces. It's like no, dude. Hi, Lily Bean. Hi, Lily. Night.
Yeah, and I agree with you, John. I think we've actually had this conversation like in I know threads. Yeah, like in comment threads. I agree that Thor Ragnarok is the only one that's like
it's film.
Yeah. It's not my favorite MCU movie.
Oh, it's mine by a lot. I got a lot.
I don't know, dude. I really like.
We could do this for a whole nother show.
We can get Jesse in on this one. We'll do a whole Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I think if you go back through me and like if we search back through our Messenger, me and your personal one, I think I ranked them at one point, and I think I had Ragnarok 2 behind Endgame. And I think it was right after
conclusion to the story.
And I think it was right after I watched Endgame.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Because it was a great conclusion to 15 years of movies?
Yeah, I mean, not just 15 years of movies, but like shit that I've been into since I was like 10 years old. You know what I mean? Right. Like all that stuff finally getting its due, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like the X-Men movies were such a huge deal for so long.
Right.
And that was all that they wanted to focus on as far as comic book movies went for Marvel. And I was always like, well, yeah, I like X-Men, but I'm not in love with X-Men. And in my eyes, I was always like, can we get some of the Incredible Hulk shit? Can we get some Avengers stuff, please? Like, I was always a Hulk guy. I always liked Iron Man. I always liked Spider-Man. And X-Men were like kind of pushed aside for me. Now, I love the fact that they did Deadpool too. Obviously, I was a Deadpool and Cable dude back in the day, but like I wanted that to be more intertwined. But finally, Avengers really getting its due was what I was into.
Did you guys enjoy the remastered DC? The
Zack Snyder?
Yeah, the Zack Snyder cut of that movie.
I mean,
it was better than the last wasted 3 hours I had.
Oh,
I will say that. It's better than the first version, but it's still.
I actually liked it a lot. I thought it was pretty good.
I didn't hate either one, to be honest. I mean,
first one
I didn't like the first version of it, but I liked all the changes they made to the second version. I was like, those are all great changes. Like they made the movie infinitely better by making those changes.
Well, I think
that the visual changes were great.
Yeah,
like way like changing the villain, like making Steppenwolf look better. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good example of a director, and I'm not a huge Zack Snyder guy. I mean, I like Zack Snyder, but I'm not like an over the top fanboy or anything.
He peaked at 300.
He did, absolutely. I just watched 300 last night. I swear to God, I fell asleep.
He peaked at 300. 300 was by far and away his best film.
So I think that's a really the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, I think, is a very good example of a director knowing the vision that he had and succumbing to the pressure of the studio and letting them put out something that he maybe wasn't that into, and then being like, hey, we already made a shit ton of money off of this one. Why don't you let me push out what I wanted to push out?
Right.
And I would love it if more studios let directors do that. You know what I mean? Think about like
that Fantastic Four movie. The guy that directed that, he got effed. And like they went and chopped his movie. The second Fantastic Four movie.
The second round they did it, not the first crew.
You're talking about the one with Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah. Apparently that was like a completely different movie, and they came in and chopped it all up and tore it.
Yeah, it was a hatchet job for sure. Yeah. Did you guys know that happened with American History X too?
Oh yeah, because
Tony Scott.
Yeah,
Tony Scott is that his name? Tony Scott. Yeah, Ridley Scott's brother or whatever. He didn't even want to put his name. He wanted to have the directing credit go to somebody, like some fake name, some made up name, because he didn't want to be involved with the release of that movie. And it makes me really curious what his version of that movie would have been, because
I know the guy that wrote the screenplay for it and Edward Norton hate each other. Like, yeah, like they hate each other because Edward Norton was like trying to do all these reshoots and shit and like be like an actor, and he was like,
Edward Norton's got a reputation for doing that. Basically, everybody goes.
Tony K. That's the guy. That's the dude.
Who was I trying to give? I was trying to give Tony Scott credit for that. Tony Scott directed Domino and The Fan.
So
The Fan
and True. Hey, he also produced True Romance. So there's that.
As we're getting
I think True Romance is the most underrated film of all time, man.
True Romance is so amazing.
It's so good. I can just watch the sequence with Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper in the trailer. I can just watch that. Like I'll just go on YouTube and everything. Watch that.
Yeah,
so good, dude.
Talking about Black Italians and stuff.
Yeah,
so good.
So good. The realization when he's smoking that cigarette and he knows he's gonna die, you see it right on his face. Love it. Every second of that is great.
Dennis Hopper, so good. Was so good.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Todd? Sorry, we True Romance.
I'll say now that we're getting towards the end of the hour, I'm just gonna give you guys a second to think about this. I heard a question today and I thought it was great. You're walking down the street, you find an iPod, old iPod, with a limitless battery, never gonna die, but you can only put 5 different artist discographies on it. Who are you putting on it?
5?
You can put 5 artists. You get all their music, but that's it. You can't change it. You get 5 artists. I thought about it all day. I'm still struggling.
So I have a feeling there's gonna be a little bit of dead air here while we think. And while we're thinking, I'm gonna show my glass real fast that I brought out specifically for the Batman podcast.
Nice. That's awesome.
You know, that Batman Beyond series is
how about that Lego Batman there just for you, Drama?
That is pretty awesome.
The Lego Batman movie's good, man.
Oh yeah, I think it's
those Lego movies. All the Lego movies that I've watched.
The first Lego movie was a visual achievement. It blew my mind.
Yeah,
it really did. I was just like, dude, this is crazy.
Plus, everybody loves Chris Pratt. All right, so back to the iPod thing.
All right,
I would say, there's some that are like they feel really obvious because they have such huge good discographies. Like the Beatles have a shitload of really like good songs. You're not a Beatles guy, Todd?
No.
I was kind of raised on the Beatles, dude. My mom is a big Beatles fan, and they have a lot of songs that I can sing along with. I think that would go a long way if I've got 5 artists to choose. Because you're not gonna want to do like 5 hip hop artists. You're not gonna want to do 5. You're gonna want to diversify, and the Beatles have a very diverse discography.
Sure, I got you.
I can't guarantee that they're going to be in the top 5 that I choose, though, to be totally honest.
The only band for sure 100% that I knew I was putting in is Led Zeppelin. Was without a thought, goes in mine immediately.
Yeah, that's darker Beatles. So yeah, you're right. I think I would.
You mean better Beatles?
Not necessarily. I said what
Led Zeppelin is a better band than the Beatles, and I'll die on that hill.
Musically,
yes.
talent, like as far as their skill level, yeah, for sure.
Jimmy Page, Robert Plant.
For somebody who loves Lord of the Rings, you should probably be leaning towards some Led Zeppelin.
Oh, believe me, I love Led Zeppelin. I've really considered getting like the 4 emblems, from the Zoso album and all that. I've really considered getting those tattooed on me. I like Led Zeppelin a lot, Todd. Don't
I
get it.
I know exactly what the first band would be. I think it would be hard to narrow it down to 5, but like you were saying, Led Zeppelin's in yours.
I think Led Zeppelin's in mine.
Okay, I know Tool is in mine.
Tool is in mine.
Absolutely, 100%. Tool is the first band I'm like, oh, Tool, like for sure. Like they are, for me. I
think I would go Zeppelin. I think I would go Tool, and then I would have a really hard decision because I love Rage Against the Machine like crazy, but it's not a lot of songs.
Yeah, their discography's small as shit.
You're talking about what, 5 albums?
Really?
And 5 albums, and one of them is fucking Renegades, and I don't even really care for much of that.
Like, I think, you can't put. I don't think you can put them on there. There's not enough.
I think I'd put Beastie Boys over Rage for me.
Beasties had a big discography too, though.
Now, here's a question for you, Todd. I found this iPod. If I choose an active artist when they drop another album, do I get to add that onto the? All right, then Run the Jewels is on my list too.
Mine would be.
I don't know who that is.
You need to look them up ASAP. Run the Jewels, brother.
I think it's a rap group, right?
It's a rap duo. You remember Killer Mike?
Yeah.
You're so outside of the club and you think I'm a thug?
No, that's
Is that him?
That was Bone Crusher.
Oh,
Never Scared. Killer Mike was the dude that did the last verse on The Whole World, that Outkast track, and the whole world.
Yeah.
Killer Mike was the one that catch a beat running like Randy Moss. You remember that line? That's Killer Mike.
Right.
And the other dude is LP, who was an underground. He was like ran Def Jux label. Like,
yeah, I just saw like Killer Mike TikTok where he's talking about LP's the greatest recording artist of all time. And like, I was like, I don't even know who that is. Like,
you need to look. So
there are songs that I've heard that are his beats.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Definitely
I went through and looked at his beats. I was like, oh, okay, I know these songs.
Yeah, definitely look up Run the Jewels, and then look up LP's solo stuff too. But look up some of the stuff that he produced, like Cannibal Ox. Like, you were in the indie hip hop kind of state of mind. I know I've heard you talk about some wild old indie hip hop. So like, I can't believe you don't know LP's name just from like the Def Jux stuff. But
Run the Jewels, I've heard that, but I've never heard their music. I know who they were. I knew Killer Mike and all that. I know who they were, but I've never listened to it.
I promise
you've heard some of their stuff.
At least, you've heard a couple Run the Jewels songs and just didn't even know.
Yeah, and I didn't know what it was. Yeah, I guarantee.
All right, so I'm going Zeppelin, Tool, Run the Jewels, Beastie Boys.
That's a good one.
All right, you guys think about yours, and I figure out my 5th.
I know I'd have Zeppelin. I know I'd have Tool. I know I'd have Modest Mouse. I'm a huge Modest Mouse fan. You laugh all you want. I fucking love them. They got a huge discography.
I agree. They're jam music. I like. They just like jamming. Like, I get
they're my guilty pleasure. Like, dude, I could just listen to them all day long. I love them.
Yeah.
It's not even like disagreement isn't the right word here, because I mean, shit, it's your choice. But I did not expect to hear you say Modest Mouse. I'll promise you that.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, what about like I might?
If I had a rap group, it's honestly. Beasties is probably pretty close. Like, I could go guilty pleasure, and That's where I was kind of leaning, but really outside of
Dude,
the people of their albums.
Here's
the thing though, you don't get all the artists though.
Okay. I was gonna say, I get Old Dirty Bastard, RZA, I get Method Man.
No. You just get the Woo albums, which means you really only want
their albums. Yeah. I guess I would change it then. I won't go Wu-Tang then. I
thought I had my Woo shirt on underneath this hoodie, and I was about to.
I think
because I thought about that.
Ahead,
like,
finish up.
I think if you do like, oh hey, I'm gonna do Wu-Tang, then I'm just gonna be like, okay, I want NWA. Then I get Ice Cube's library, Dr. Dre's library. Like,
so that answers my question. My fifth artist, I was gonna be like, if I pick Jack White, do I get the White Stripes? And
White Stripes have a good library.
So I might still pick the White Stripes, but I was gonna say Jack White so that I got his solo stuff. I get like the Dead Weather and
Michael Jackson's getting a spot.
MJ.
He was gonna be like
just because I need a different genre. Like I can't just listen to rock the whole time. Like he would give me that.
I thought for sure that's why you were gonna pick Boys to Men.
Motown.
I'm too young for that.
You're too young for Boys to Men,
bro. Like I remember my sister having the cassettes. That's what I remember of them.
Word.
On bended knee. Yeah.
Right. Don't wait till the water runs dry.
Is that 5, Todd?
I have 4. I'm trying to think who I would put the 5th.
Who'd you say? You said Zeppelin, Beastie Boys.
No, he said Zeppelin, Modest Mouse.
He didn't say Tool. I said Tool.
Yeah,
I said Tool too.
Yeah.
Oh,
we all have
Tool.
Yeah.
I bought every one of their albums on the day they were released.
Oh yeah, I didn't know you were a Tool guy, Todd.
Yeah.
The first album I ever heard was my brother had Opiate, and that made me want to go. When I was working with, I think I would have been working with you guys when
I was working at Applebee's when Ladder Alice came out.
When Ladder Alice came out,
me and Jeremy Pyatt went to the Meyer right behind the Applebee's and bought it the night it came out.
I skipped school that morning so I could go buy it. Yep. I showed up late.
10,000 Days came out while we lived.
Oh, 10,000 Days. That's what it was. Yeah, 10,000 Days. That's the one that came out.
Yeah, that came out when I lived in Fort Wayne because I remember Jesse bought it. Yeah. I bought it the next day. Like I have 10,000 Days in my car right now.
Enema was one of the first albums I burned. I went in my brother's room and took it off of his rack. I went right down to our computer and burned it. It's like one of the first albums I burned.
What was your 5th one then?
I don't have it yet.
Neither of us have a 5th one yet.
So mine would be Tool, Michael Jackson for sure. When it comes to the rap, it's like I was gonna take Wu because I thought I would get everybody's side catalog because I could go with Old Dirty Bastard and like that's awesome.
Drama, you're about to say Brother Lynch, aren't you?
I thought of him too.
I knew
his catalog sucks. He doesn't have a great catalog. He's got 2 good albums, and I know every word of them. But I think it would be Redman. I think I would take the Redman because I would still get Blackout album with
Meth.
That's a Redman Method Man album.
Yeah.
Where Redman's on it. So I get both the Blackout albums and all of Redman's catalog is good to me. So I would probably take Redman. It was between him and Kanye, but Kanye's been so fucked up lately. Like
I think Kanye's my 5th, and I really only like the first 3 albums. I don't even like 4 and 5, but College Dropout, Late Registration, and Graduation might be the best 3 album stretch.
You put me on the College Dropout. I remember that. Like that is top 5 rap album in my book.
I think that's the best 3 album stretch.
Yeah.
Of any hip hop artist ever. I don't think it's really even close.
I agree. Oh shit.
I know who it is, and I might have to take Michael out.
Never mind. I know. I can't even believe I even thought about this. It's not Redman. As much as I love Redman, his first 2 albums that I listened to were great, but it's Nas. I forgot. It's Nas. Nas, I think, is the greatest lyricist of all time, and his first 5 albums were all liquid fire. So I could listen to every single one of them back to back. So that it would be Nas for me. Number 4 then would be probably Slayer. It would be between Metallica and Slayer because I would have to have a metal band in there, like a real metal band. And Metallica's first 5 albums are better than I think anything Slayer did, in my opinion. But Slayer's overall catalog is a lot better and fits what I would want for that type of music. So I think it would be Slayer.
I was never a big metal guy really in general, unless you thought, I mean, if you talk like Led Zeppelin being like the, the forebears of metal music, then sure. But like Slayer, I never really got into. Early Metallica stuff, everything up to like the Black Album, I think is really, it's good. It's super good, but it never really was something that I like went nuts for.
They're the best live band I've ever seen.
Metallica?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It was.
See,
I think my brother would say the same thing.
What do you?
It was crazy. Like
it
sounded like you put a CD in.
So I was gonna say, are you basing best on as far as like sounding?
It sounded like you
album?
just stuck a CD in your car and you're listening to it. And I was 4 people from the stage. I couldn't hear a goddamn thing after I left. Like, it was great.
I've heard the same thing. Metallica's just amazing live.
So not to get too far off subject here, but you guys know Alt J?
Yeah.
Alt J sounds exactly like their album live. I mean, like, I was questioning whether or not they were really playing their instruments by the end of it. I was like, this sounds so perfect that I'm concerned that they're faking.
Right.
And Incubus too. I've seen Incubus 3 times. The first time was almost 20 years ago. Yeah. And the last time was 5 years ago. Brandon Boyd sounds exactly the same now as he did 20 years ago. So, like, absurdly good live.
I think I'm taking Michael out of mine.
To replace him with?
I love Black Sabbath. I don't care what anybody else says.
I was gonna say when you said Led Zeppelin, I thought
band was I think I've got my 5. I'm struggling right now because I want to put Black Sabbath, but I also want to put Queens of the Stone Age. And
that's a weird pull, Todd.
I like weird bands, man. I like one of my favorite rappers is Del the Funky Homo Sapien. Nobody listens to that
Del.
stuff. Like I love some Del.
Deltron 3000. I love Del.
Dude.
I think my 5th is
Foo Fighters. I can put in there. I love the Foo Fighters.
I guarantee you, if we asked my wife this question, Foo Fighters would be the first band she named.
On the Oculus, they have like this thing called Oculus Horizons, and you can
watch them live. It was awesome.
Yeah, I watched it live. It's pretty cool.
I saw Foo Fighters at Lollapalooza last year.
Really? I think my 5th would be Hans Zimmer.
Ha! That's cheating.
That's not cheating.
That is cheating.
I have a playlist on my Spotify.
Mine's a Nino Morricone.
It's weird shit I hear in movies. What?
That's super cheating.
That's not cheating. That's easy. Yeah. That he's got a great catalog. Look at his catalog.
Oh, believe me, I know. Drama's like, my first pick's gonna be John Williams.
Nino Morricone.
Yeah.
Hey, don't talk shit. That dude's got some fire too. Like,
hey, if you want some of that, just do Metallica because you get the symphony album, and they do the Ecstasy of Gold, and it's awesome.
Yeah. What's Homeboy's name that did the Game of Thrones? That Raman Djawadi or whatever. Like,
I don't know. But my version would have to be the South Park version. Wiener, floppy wiener, floppy wiener, floppy wiener. That was the shit.
What's the line in High Fidelity? Drama's picking side 1, track 1 of Beethoven's 5th Symphony or whatever. Like,
pretty much.
Very safe pick. Drama, very pussy.
Why you bring that up? I don't know if you, John. I sent it to you today. Some other guys that have like a TikTok or a podcast, they were reading off weird stats. You know the lady that helped the Apollo 13 mission, helped those astronauts figure out how to get back? She did that while she was giving birth to Jack Black.
What?
She solved that problem. Jack Black's mom,
worked
for NASA and was the person who solved one of the things that saved those astronauts' life and brought them back. But she did it while she was at the hospital giving birth
to Jack Black.
I would like to fact check that.
Dude, I was watching it today. It's crazy.
You heard that on a TikTok?
It was on a podcast where those guys that read the crazy, weird world coincidences.
Right, yeah.
They said, check this one out. And they read it off. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
So it's strange that you said that because earlier I was talking about the like weird facts.
MSNBC. It's sure enough. That's right. It's
That's
true.
wild. That is wild.
Yeah.
You guys are on IMDb all the time, and like you ever look through people's like trivia?
Oh yeah.
You know who Alicia Witt is?
You know what?
Alicia Witt, redheaded actress.
I'm sure if I saw
Shepherd. She played Sybil Shepherd's daughter on the TV show Sybil, and then she was like,
I'm sure if I saw who
Chris
she was.
Chris Moltisanti cheated on Adriana with her in The Sopranos.
Okay, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
I was randomly somehow ended up on her IMDb page earlier in some goofy rabbit hole, and her trivia, her mom from 1988 to 1996 was in the Guinness Book of World Records for having the world's longest hair.
Weird.
Super weird, right?
That's a weird stat.
And then to make it even weirder, Alicia Witt's parents both died in December from apparent carbon monoxide poisoning.
Wow.
Right? I agree. I agree with your assessment of wow drama. Like I read that and was like, what a weird life.
What a weird life.
This woman was in the Guinness Book of World Records for 8 years. Her daughter's a famous actress, and then her and her husband just die from carbon monoxide poisoning in their sleep.
Click on Jason Schwartzman, because that's a rabbit hole that gets crazy.
Yeah, he's related to everybody.
Yeah, he was the drummer of the band. He was the drummer of Phantom Planet that did the OC intro.
Oh yeah,
that band to be an actor.
I love Phantom Planet for the record.
His uncle is Francis Coppola, and his cousin is Nick Cage.
Yeah, his mom is Talia Shire.
It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, dude. He's related to a bunch of people. It's crazy.
He was just on the new season of Righteous Gemstones.
I love him.
He's good.
Yeah, he's good.
Even if you throw out Rushmore, which why would you? Like,
right.
He's still like, some of the shit he's been in. Did you ever see that dumb? I don't even remember what the movie was called, where they're in college and they're like, it might just be called Cheaters.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I gotta look it up, but
I'm looking at it right now.
He's so ridiculous in that movie. He makes up a nickname. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna give you a nickname. I just made it up. It's Laser." Like it's just such a weird throwaway line, and he's so goofy.
He's great.
Did you guys like Funny People?
I never saw that.
All right, it's a good movie.
Watched
it's not
it.
Terrible.
I think Jason Schwartzman's character in that movie is just crazy underrated.
You know what I liked him in? The Wet Hot American Summer, when they did the mini series.
I didn't watch it.
Oh, he was good in that, dude.
Good.
He was good. It wasn't as good as the original movie, Wet Hot American Summer, but
on paper it looks like something that I should have just dove headfirst into because of the people that are in it, and like I love the original movie.
Yeah.
I don't know why I haven't checked it out.
Jeremy Hyatt was actually the one that got me into that movie. He was like, dude, you should watch this. And he handed me 2 movies at his house one night when we were leaving. I was taking James Baugh home, and he was like, here, man, you need to watch these 2 movies. And one movie was Wet Hot American Summer. The other movie was Shaolin Soccer. He was like, here, go watch these movies.
2 great movies.
Yeah, and I went home and watched both of them back to back, and I was like, these are great. And then I immediately watched Kung Fu Hustle right after that.
That is the strangest 2 movies for somebody to hand another person.
Right? Like, with Jeremy, he's like a weird, scientist dude.
Jeremy Pye was so weird and so funny.
Yeah, he's great.
Probably, I don't know, 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago, I messaged him on Facebook. This is when his Facebook was still active.
And
I was friends with him on Facebook, but like, I found somebody shared this like, what's the, God damn it, when people are trying to raise money, what's that called?
Fundraising?
Yeah, but the website that they do it through. GoFundMe.
GoFundMe, yeah.
So somebody had a GoFundMe to like give money to Kanye West. Remember when Kanye claimed he was going bankrupt or whatever?
Right.
I had a GoFundMe shared, and the person that created the GoFundMe was Jeremy Pyatt. And I was like, There is a 0% chance this is the same Jeremy Pyatt.
Right.
And I reached out to him and just sent him a message that was like, hey, man, I just saw a GoFundMe trying to get some money around for Kanye West bankruptcy case.
Right.
Tell me that wasn't started by you and it was a different Jeremy Pyatt. And he was like, definitely not me. Hope things are going well. That was all I heard from and never heard from him again. I was like, that's a very Jeremy Pyatt answer.
Super smart guy, man. But that was like, he handed me those movies, like, watch these movies. And I was like, all right. Like American Hot, dude, the scene with the guy from Law and Order.
Chris Maloney.
Dude,
Maroney
the
or
first time I watched that, I was thinking to myself, dude. And then starts singing and shit. Oh, so good. I had such high hopes for the reboot, and it was like, it was okay. They couldn't really recapture what they had.
You know what's really
Paul
crazy?
Rudd was awesome in it.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, think about the people that were in that movie. Like Paul Rudd is now. I mean, he was
Bradley Cooper.
Magazine, he was sexiest man of the year. People Magazine's sexiest man alive or whatever. Bradley Cooper. Yeah, Bradley Cooper's first film role.
Yep.
Amy Poehler was in that.
Yeah, Amy Poehler. Who was in the original movie to that?
That's what we're talking about. Janine Garofalo.
Janine Garofalo and
David Hyde Pierce.
The kid from Frasier.
Like, Michael Ian Black's in that.
Yeah,
dude. He's my like, I watch Michael Ian. I fuck with Michael Ian Black, dude. That dude's funny.
Do you remember?
That dude is funny, dude.
Do you remember VH1, the I Love the 70s and I Love the
80s? He was on all those.
Yeah, he was great on those.
Michael Ian Black said, Michael Showalter's great too.
Yeah.
Michael Ian Black said the funniest thing that I've ever seen on television, I think, in one of those I Love the 70s episodes. They were talking about how Mel Brooks made Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein in the same year. Which
that's crazy.
That alone is wild. I mean, Blazing Saddles might be the funniest movie possibly ever. I mean, it's way up there on the list.
It's way up there.
Michael Ian Black goes, this man decided that he wasn't just going to make Blazing Saddles, but he was also going to make the second funniest black and white movie ever made.
Yeah.
And then he hesitates and goes, obviously the funniest being Schindler's List. And he says it in that, like, in the most dry, like, you can see just like his lip curls up just enough that, you know, and I know you guys know exactly the look I'm talking about that he does all the time where he's like, with number one obviously being Schindler's List. And he just curls the lip up just enough.
That's a wrap.
Yeah.
We got to end on that right there. That's a wrap. Oh my God.
I'm going to go watch Schindler's List and get some laughs out.
Right. My wife's never seen that movie, so I might watch it too just to get her up to speed. All right, fellas, that is a wrap on episode 4. I'm glad we didn't kill each other over the Batman.
Jesse, I hope you're listening, and I hope we ruined the movie for you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you just listened all the way through that and did not realize that we were going to spoil the shit out of it, I'm really, really sorry, but you should have read the comments first. So, yeah. See you guys next week.